Hi, everyone. Tuning in. Happy Monday. How's everyone doing today? Trying to get, hope everyone's doing good. Happy Monday. So, I am here again with another random live. This will be like a random candle making Q&A. Just wanted to pop in and help out. I got a lot of questions on my YouTube channel in the comments, like under different videos. So I realized a lot of new followers that I've gotten. So I just said, every now and then I'm gonna just pop on and do a random Q&A. Hope everyone's doing good. Look, if it seems weird that I am rocking a hoodie in May, if you know anything about Ohio, you will understand why I have a hoodie on in May. It is our weather is ridiculous. Like it's crazy. That's why when it starts to get warm, I don't get excited yet because until about June, when summer really kicks in, like spring is still a good mixture of winter and spring. Like it's ridiculous. And we still have our heat on in May. And I have a hoodie on and I have slight sniffles because my son, he just got over a little cold. And so my mamas know you always get sick last. And so I'm like, so if I sound stuffy or whatever, like that's why I'm balled up in a hoodie in May. Isn't that great? So that's Ohio for you. All right. So this is just a random Q&A video. If you have any candle making questions, um, we'll be in the 90s by the weekend. I know. I saw the weather. Like today it's cloudy. It's supposed to rain tonight, but it's still cool outside. So it's just like it's May. I have the sniffles, so it's like I can't win. It's ridiculous. So if you have any like candle making questions, I'm from Wisconsin where we have second winter, but it's nice and hot today. See, I feel you. Like I understand. Ohio just goes through it's just like it don't know what it wants to do. We can literally have all four seasons in 1 week. Like it's ridiculous. I've got the heater on in Cali. Now see, she in California, she got her heater on. See, it's not just Ohio. Okay, so now I don't feel crazy wearing rocking the hoodie in mid-May. I just wanted to let y'all know before y'all probably clown me like, why this chick got on a hoodie and it's May? All right, so random Q&A. I wanted to run through some of the questions that I've been getting on my YouTube channel. Um, a lot of it has to do with my candle making supplies. So I'm gonna run through these and then let you all know where you all can find my candle making supplies, just in case you may be new or you just now really been watching me for a little bit and you're just trying to figure out what's going on. So she's in Illinois wearing a sweater because I don't trust it. I understand. I understand. Okay, so yeah, I just want to run through a few of these questions that I got on my YouTube channel. I see y'all really enjoyed the live that my husband and I did. I think y'all enjoyed it because he's a clown. I'm not as entertaining as him. He is a clown, so I see y'all been loving him. So first, I see some questions coming in, so I'll answer these first, and then I'll run through some of the questions I received on my YouTube channel and let you all know where you can get my supplies. Um, Let me go ahead and clock out for break from work, and then we can get started. Okay, so first question here. So I see some New Yorkers in here. How y'all doing? All right, so what is the best wax to use for the strongest scent? Not really caring about the natural side of things. Okay, so if that's the case, go to paraffin wax, girl. Boom, pow. That's it. Paraffin wax will give you the scent and the strength of hot throw that you're looking for, especially if you don't care about being natural and, organic or anything like that. Paraffin wax is the way to go. Boom. see if I have any. So I don't have any questions here on Instagram. Okay. Okay. All right. So some of the questions I received on YouTube. Can you mix two waxes together? Oh yeah, Parasoy is nice too. Yeah, Parasoy is good. I was just about to, that's the question I was just about to ask. Can you mix two waxes together? Can you do wax blends? Yeah. You absolutely can blend waxes together. But again, if you're looking for that power, just straight paraffin, we'll give it to you. Just period. I was wondering, so here on Instagram, I was wondering if there's such a thing as beginner wax. Ideally, I want to work with coconut soy, but I don't know if I should start with soy first. So there's no such thing as, I mean, wax. There's really no beginner wax. Soy is tricky to work with. So I always say if you can get soy down, you can probably tackle any wax because soy is very tricky. So that's how I started with soy wax, just because it came in a kit. I wasn't really looking for what's a beginner friendly wax. I just purchased the kit and just started rocking it out. So you can definitely start with soy, and that way you can begin to master a lot of the troubleshooting that comes with candle making. Coconut soy, you can immediately jump right into coconut soy too. There's really no like path that you should go down first in particular. Because perfecting the craft and troubleshooting candles, that just comes with the job, that comes with the craft in general. So there, you can't really escape it. So I would always start off with the kit though, instead of buying a bunch of wax. I always advise to just start off with starter kits for beginners. So that way you're not throwing a lot of money in the trash with wax that you don't no longer like. Let me make sure I'm going through some questions here. Can we use burning oils for candles? What are burning oils? I'm not sure what you mean by burning oils. What do you do to get a good hot throw with soy? So, like I was just saying, Stephanie, soy is tricky. Um, when you're working with natural wax, like I think I said this in a live last week, bring your expectations down with wax, with the soy wax. You're not going to get a Bath and Body Works candle. You're not going to get a powerful scent throw with soy wax. It's just not going to happen because of the properties and the how it's manufactured, because it's derived from the oil from soybeans. It's come from the ground. Like it's natural wax. It's just not going to give you that punch that you're looking for. And so if you want to stay natural, you need to lower your expectations a little bit when working with soy. However, things that I recommend, because I did start with 464 for my candle line and my customers raved about my candles. They thought it was fine. I have not had any complaints. If customers didn't like my candles, I didn't know because they didn't tell me. But all the reviews that I did gather, they all love my candles. And so I use a 10% fragrance load percentage. You have to make sure you have the right wick, and you can test up and down with different fragrance load percentages. So soy, you can even go up to even 12%, but I recommend around 10%. So that way, it's the wax can hold it better. I think I just posted a post on Instagram today about, just because you add more fragrance oil don't mean it's going to be a stronger candle. It can actually do more harm than good. You'll end up with the wax not being able to hold the oil. It's kind of like a rain cloud. Once that cloud can no longer hold that precipitation, it rains. And that's what wax does, except for it either sinks to the bottom or it causes little dewy drops on the top. And so, things you can do to help your hot throw: I stir for at least 3 minutes. Sometimes with 464, I've stirred for even 5 minutes, very gentle. And I just put my timer on my cell phone, put on some music, and just stir it in different directions each minute, very gently. You can also try adding your fragrance oil at a lower temperature. So with soy wax, you typically heat it up to 185. They always say, they recommend adding your oil immediately. However, I've tested tried and true, and I love adding my fragrance oil at around 160, because I pour at around 140. And once you add that fragrance oil at 160, it's gonna cool down even more. And so it hits 140, 145 in no time. So I like adding it at 160 because it prevents the fragrance oil from burning off. 185 to 160 is a huge heat difference, believe it or not, and it prevents the oils from burning off. Also, think about the fragrance oils you're using. There's fragrance oils that are a lot stronger than others. There's like, you got floral scents, but then if you have a woodsy scent, the woodsy fragrance oil may be a lot stronger. And so, what you may think is not strong with your floral scent, it probably is. It's just once that fragrance oil is added and binded to a wax, sometimes fragrance oils can lose their punch. And that's just the name of the game. Can't really get around that. But I think play around with your fragrance load percentages. Make sure you're stirring adequately. Try lowering your temperature in which you add your fragrance oil and test with that and see if that works. If not, try switching waxes because you don't expect a Bath and Body Works candle from just straight up soy wax. It's not going to happen. What wax do you use to get the best hot throw? So paraffin wax is probably one of the best waxes to use. And I said one of, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just saying it's one of the best waxes to use to get a powerful hot throw. If you don't care about staying natural, if you're trying to stay natural, you can use waxes such as coconut soy. Apricot has a good hot throw. It holds fragrance very well. A parasoy, a nice blend of paraffin and soy is a good wax to kind of give you that extra punch. Coconut soy, I think, is a good step up from regular soy wax. It holds hot throw very well. It's less troubleshooting. I don't have too many issues with coconut soy. So you could try those waxes. I noticed that the Flaming Candle has been out of coconut soy wax. Is there another place to shop? I also purchased at Virginia Candle Supply, but I don't know if that's close to where you live. Sometimes it's hard telling people other suppliers because what may be close to me is not close to you, and you may be paying way more shipping than I do. So I've only purchased it from the Flaming Candle and Virginia Candle Supply. They're not super close to me, but they're closer to me than other states. So it works out. Either way, I always pay an arm and a leg for shipping. I don't have a lot of close candle suppliers near me that carry all the supplies that I need. I have a Columbus candle supply up the street, but it's not a one-stop shop for me. So I mainly go there for my fragrances when I want to try something new. So you can check your local suppliers or you can check out Virginia Candle Supply. Let's see. I've been using Parasoy and it's still not quite satisfied. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, is it and that's what I try to tell beginner candle makers. It's either you lower your expectation when working with natural soy wax or you just change the wax if you don't care about being natural. Because a lot of people get into candle making thinking they're going to make a Bath and Body Works candle, and I only use Bath and Body Works because we know everybody knows Bath and Body Works and everybody loves their 3-wick candles. So I always use them as an example because their candles are bomb, right? We all love their candles, but it's like they have a whole different manufacturing process than what you're doing at home. And they're not just using straight soy wax. So you have to kind of maneuver around the fact that it's not going to be a powerful punch. I embraced it. I didn't look at it as a negative because the customers that I serve in the industry my target audience, it's more moms and families and homes. And when it comes to burning candles, my husband has allergies. When you have newborns and babies, you have to be careful with what you're burning and what you're putting in the atmosphere. And this is just me because my husband has allergies. I know a lot of people with that whole soy versus paraffin debate. Like, I'm not into all that. It's just I'm doing what's best for my house. And so that's the wax I chose to go with. And so my target audience embrace more of the natural because they're all moms and they're all always looking for natural and organic products. So that's my target audience. So that's why when I talk to candle makers, I'm like, you have to find your sweet spot in your lane. I've never professed to be an expert or anything. I'm just telling you what I know and what I like. And I've just put a video and recorded on YouTube. So you have to do what's best for you in your house. And that wax works great for my house because of how my husband's allergies are. He's very sensitive to smells. And so that's the audience I cater to. So there's no right or wrong wax. I never said paraffin was horrible. Like, I just don't prefer to use it. But so if you don't care about that, paraffin is a great wax, or a parasoy, like a nice blend of parasoy. So I just wanted to clear that up because I'm not that candle maker that gets into that debate. I just want to have fun and make my candles and sell them. Like, this is a free, positive atmosphere on my channel. I just want to kick it and make candles. That's it. All right. How can I eliminate that ugly black soot at the top of my candles? I wick down from CD14 to CD10 and it's still the same outcome with the parasoy wax. So with the soot, I mean, you can't completely eliminate soot. Now, one thing that can cause soot is how much fragrance you added. If you added too much, sometimes the candle can get too hot, and anything that burns, that's one thing I can probably clarify. Anything that burns, it's going to create like a burnt. I mean, the flame, anything that has a flame to it, you put a flame to paper, it's going to turn black. You hold a flame next to a white wall, it's going to turn black. So there's no way to completely avoid it because it's a fuel. Once that fragrance oil and wax come together, that whole chemistry burns up through that wax to release the aroma, right? So it could be maybe you use too much fragrance oil that day or in that formula, and the wick probably just couldn't handle it. And if the wick can't handle it, then it's going to sometimes produce that black smoke. So be careful about that. Be mindful about that. Oh yeah, somebody agreed. Charmaine, 160 is the way to go. Yes, I like adding my fragrance oil at 162. Hi, this is Patricia, loving your videos. I can't wait to get started. Yay! How long have you been in the candle making business? So my son is 3.5. So so over 3 years. I literally started after I had my son. I buy wax from the Virginia Candle Store. Is that the same wax as the flaming candle? It's number C6, but it's different. At Virginia Candle Supply, it's just a coconut soy wax. So it's not C6 like the flaming candle, but it is a coconut soy blend. And so I use Virginia Candle Supply as my last resort. So it's still a coconut soy blend. But C6 is like it's manufactured differently, but it's still the same blend. So if the flaming candle don't have it, the Virginia Candle Supply wax works just as well for me. I don't have any issues with it. What's the best wick to use for C6 wax? So Brittany, it depends on your jar. So it's not just about the wax. It depends on your size jar. Well, it mainly depends on your jar, because depending on the size of your jar, that's going to determine how big or small your wick is. Do you use the same measurements for making wax melts as candles? Yes, Shelly, I actually just did a video on Friday, how to make wax melt, how much wax and fragrance oil you need to make a wax melt. So you can check that out. I just did that on Friday. Should we warm our fragrance oil if it cools the wax too fast? If I add my fragrance oil and stir for 2 minutes, the wax cools too low. No, I've never warmed up my fragrance oil. The wax, I mean, how cool does it get? Because I add my fragrance oil at 160 and I pour at 140. So, I mean, it's supposed to cool down so that you can pour it. So, I've never warmed up my fragrance oil though. Oh, you're welcome. No problem. Much love back at you from Ohio. Yeah. So, yep. So, I think your name is Atashe Davis. So yeah, I mean, your wax is supposed to cool. You want your wax to cool, for sure. A lot of suppliers recommend you pouring at around 135, 140. I poured about 140, 145 ish. So it's supposed to cool down. So as you're stirring, that's a good thing, you know. And I always warm my jars. Excuse me, I always warm my jars before I pour because it helps minimize wet spots. So I get a lot of questions on, well, how long do you warm it? It's really no like science to it. It's I just put it in the oven. I preheat my oven to about 170-ish, and I just pop them in there for a minute, and until it's I pull them out. If it's nice, if it has a nice bounce back, like if I touch it and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, then I'll pull them out. There's really no science behind it. It's just one of those under the cuff candle making tricks that you just learn. No problem, Brittany. Absolutely, Shayla. No problem. Happy to help. Happy to help. Thank you, Charmaine. I'm glad I can help. Do you like Lone Star Candle Supply? Yes, I have ordered from Lone Star before. Look, y'all, I always tell candle makers, have a few backup candle suppliers. Like, no, I mean, most candle suppliers will give you pretty much all the same products. But just like I was telling Instagram, how you got the flaming candle has C6, which is a coconut soy, but then Virginia Candle Supply is just a coconut soy blend. And to me, it's just like, if it doesn't mess up my formula, I'm rocking with it, because I can't hold up orders. And I don't want, if I don't have to hold up orders because just the flaming candle doesn't have my wax, like you have to figure out a backup supplier or two. I have several backup suppliers that I use. It's mainly the flaming candle and candle supply, and then Columbus Candle Supply that I get. But if all three are failing me at the moment, I have to go to my backup suppliers because I have a business that I'm still trying to run. So always have backup suppliers. If the formula still works, I'm rocking with it. I haven't had any issues with that wax from Virginia Candle Supply. Don't make your job harder than what it needs to be as a candle maker. You're already trying to figure everything out. If it works, go with it. Yes, Pamela. I do warm the jars with the wicks in them. Yep. After I wick them, I stick them in the oven, and once they're warm, I pull them out. The wick does get a little flimsy, but once the candles cure, though, and you have to center your wicks anyway. They harden right back up. So because it's hard to wick jars when they're hot. So, and I like my jars to stay as pretty warm to hot as possible, because if I'm pouring at 140, I want my wax to slow down as much as possible to prevent those wet spots. So you do get a little flimsy wick. It acts like this. But once you center it and it cures overnight, like your wick is hard as it was when it came in the package. Like it's not a big deal at all. And you got to remember that wick is about to be cut and trimmed and burned anyway. So let me make sure I'm not missing nothing. What type of wax do you use to make wax melts? I use the 494 tart wax. Eco Soya is good for tart wax too, tarts as well. You can actually use candle wax for tart wax. That's not typically my first go-to though, because the consistency with candle wax versus tart wax is completely different, and I don't think a lot of us realize that. That's why it's made for candles versus what's made for tart wax. Tart wax is a little softer. It has a more waxy, oily consistency because it's made to melt just with being on a plate. Versus a candle wax is a little more tougher, and it melts. It's designed to melt more from a flame. So it just but you absolutely can use candle wax with tart wax. I just prefer an actual tart wax. So I add my fragrance oil at 185 and I want to pour at 170, but when I add my fragrance oil and serve for 2 minutes, my wax cools to 160, which doesn't create smooth tops for sea wax. Well, with natural wax, it doesn't have much to do with you adding your fragrance oil. Like fragrance oil, it's just what it is. You have to add it. It's going to cool it down. Your wax is supposed to cool down. But with the smooth tops and That's why heat guns are candle maker's best friend. With natural wax, it's just going to happen. You're going to get sinkholes sometimes. You're going to get lumpy tops. You hardly ever are going to pour, very rarely have I poured a perfect smooth top batch. Natural wax just has different properties and it's just manufactured differently. And so once you get that in your brain, then you can know how to troubleshoot. So just grab out that heat gun or grab your hair dryer and just smooth out the tops. I mean, if you follow any candle maker on Instagram that are in business, everywhere you look up, they have a video where they're smoothing out tops. Like that's just what it is. It just comes with being a candle maker. Natural wax just acts funky sometimes, and sometimes that air bubbles get in that wax that you can't really control, and so once it cures, it wants to act a little weird. So just pull out that heat gun and make it work. Any tips on how to prevent labels from going on wrinkly? Um, I just I don't really have any tips really. When I put my labels on my jars, I just do my best to make sure they're even and I just smoothen out from the center to the edge. I just do my best to just make sure it's straight. I don't have any like special machine or anything. I literally label everything by hand and I take my time. I carve out time to do it and I just make sure it's centered and I just do my best to smooth it out. Now that we are moving to the summer, if your house is hot, should you add fragrance oil at a cooler temp and pour cooler as well? I mean, it just depends. I mean, do you run the air on in your house? I'm not sure what your environment looks like, but even with me having the air conditioner on, I still make my candles. I just make sure I'm not around any drafts, but I still make my candles like normal. I don't change my formula. I did not change my formula last summer or at all. We have the air on in the house, but I do make sure that when I'm working in the kitchen, I close all the vents. I don't open any doors or windows. I open all the doors and windows once I'm done batching out candles. I didn't change my formula last summer or prior summers when I was practicing making candles. So I just keep our house pretty regulated. Yeah, that's it. Yep. So Virginia Candle Supply. Yep, you can try them. I finally caught your live session. I received the candle super fast, and you included a wax melt sample. I don't know the scent, but would like to order some. Maybe it's a part of your relaunch. Yes, it will be. I will be releasing the scents soon. So the one you probably got was the probably like a little teaser scent that I had, and so I'll be releasing that soon. But thank you for purchasing. I appreciate the support. So it's best to warm the jar to avoid. Yes, Karen. I mean, yeah, I warm the jars to avoid the wet spots. I'm not sure what you mean by pockets, but the wet spots is what I try to avoid. So I warm my jars to avoid wet spots. Yes. So with the coconut soy, what temperature do you heat it to? I heat it to 185. Delicia or Delicia Williams. I heat it to 185. Do you pour all your scents at the same temp? My strong scents, best hot throw gets poured at a higher temp. At I pour all of my scents at the same temp. Um, from everything that's in my candle line, I pour everything around added about 160, 165. And so I still pour all of my jars at 140. So I don't really change my pouring temp based on the scent. I haven't, none of my scents really required me to. I've always been pleased with the hot throw from all of my testing. But again, like I always try to encourage people, just because that works for me, it may be different for you. We're not all using the same scents. So if you find that pouring at a higher temp is better, stick with it. Stick with it. Everybody has a different way of doing things. That's the great thing about candle making. Like everybody finds their own sweet spots. So, just I just share what I share on YouTube based on my experience alone. Like, you know. So, but if you find, oh well, I find pouring at a higher temp with this fragrance is better. Cool. As long as it give you the hot throw that you need, I ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do. Let me see. Which labels do you like to use? I use onlinelabels.com for all of my candle labels, and I have not turned back. I have not really tried any other labels, but I know Avery's good. I know Vistaprint is good. Like, I know those are good, reputable printing companies. So, but I use online labels because I like printing them at home. What's the best tool for marketing candles? So I mean, are you talking about like social media, or because I just use social media and I just have a website and I just try to market my tail off as much as possible. uh let's see what else. When you switched to coconut soy, did you find that you had to wick compared to the 464? Are you asking, did I have to change wicks? I didn't have to change wicks because I still used the same size jar at the time. No, I didn't have to wick up. CD12 worked with 464 and it worked with my coconut soy at the time. Thank you so much. Let's see what else. Rasheen, where do you get your strongest scent? I get all of my scents from either the Flaming Candle or Candle Supply. So it's a mixture based on my different collections that I have. Oh, you're welcome. The candle and the teaser wax melt was amazeballs. Yes, I am super excited. So I'm assuming if it was a teaser one, it probably was one of my male scents from my male collection now. If you follow me on Lady Simone Candle Co., I have my men's collection, which is called Gray Sweatpants. And I know that's probably, y'all probably like, well, why did she name it that? Look, I know I'm not the only girl that likes to see a sexy man in some gray sweatpants. So don't play. So I named it that as a way to, be creative and do something different. As a candle maker, you have to do your best to stand out. And that was my way of standing out. Every woman know they like to see their man walking around the house with some gray sweatpants and a wife beater. Don't play. So the scent she probably got was from that. And it smelled like a sexy man too, girl. I'm sure you're like, woo, it smelled great. All right, so after weeks of wick testing, I finally found 2 wicks that worked. Yes, that is always a reward. If you find a wick that works, go out and celebrate. Reward yourself, because it's so frustrating. All right. So this is the last question I'll take because I think Instagram is pretty much finished. So this is the last question I'll take. I'm late logging in. Any experience with Cocoa 83 wax? I have not yet, but I plan on my YouTube channel bringing out more how-tos with different waxes and testing different waxes for y'all so we can get some different experience. So I can at least test and kind of, expand my skills and then also show you all too on YouTube. All right. Yes, it was the masculine scent. Okay, so I figured. All right, cool. Yeah, that's for my dude, for my men. So Rasheen, I'll take this last question. So I'm getting ready to launch. Where do you order from for my boxes? So I get my shipping boxes from eBay. Who would have thought, right? eBay, and at the time Amazon, but now for my rebrand, I get them from eBay. And so shipping is a whole nother conversation. That's hard to just talk about in one question or one answer because it varies and it takes on different factors. So shipping is like a whole nother thing. You are welcome. All of y'all are welcome. Y'all are welcome. I love y'all. You are welcome as well here on Instagram. Yes. So I use all coconut soy for all my candles. Yes. And I use tart wax for all of my wax melts. So coconut soy is a part of my new line that I started when did I switch? Like fall or for winter? I feel like it was like fall. Or maybe I started playing with it in the fall. Y'all know as candle makers, it starts to blur. Like you you play with so many wicks and waxes. It's like a blur at this point. But I officially use coconut soy now for all of my candles, and it's been great. My customers, they knew the formula changed. Like, oh, did your formula change? Like, I can tell it kind of has a little umph to the scent. Like, it does hold a better hot throw than 464. I will say that. I will say that. So I don't regret the switch. I thought I would never switch to 464 because it's like once you've mastered it, oh, I'm gonna stick with it. But coconut soy has been great. And I still play with 464 though. You know, I use it for just candles for myself just because it's just in my house and I'm not wasting the wax. So I'll still make it for like family, friends, or whatever because I still have it, or for like my YouTube demos that y'all see, how to's and all that stuff. As a YouTuber, I still buy supplies even more just so I can do demos and stuff. So I have some demo ideas coming down the pipe. I want to work with different waxes and do different reviews for you guys. Oops. Every time I go live with Instagram, my battery is about to die. I got to make sure I'm fully charged when I go live with y'all. So I have more video ideas coming down the pipe for sure for YouTube with different waxes because I want to expand my horizon, not necessarily for my candle business, but just to kind of help educate myself and educate you all. Because, you know, it's good you can never stop learning too much about the candle industry. So, all right. Y'all are great. I love y'all. I am about to head back to work. I am off break. That's been a good 30 minutes. So, thank you all so much for tuning in to this random Q&A. I hope I was able to help. Now, real quick, before I get back to work, my LadyC's Digital HQ. I try to now announce this at the end of each video, but the link in my description box and in my bio, it takes you to my free resources. That's in LadyC's Digital HQ. This is the digital side of my candle business. So this is where my freebies are. I got some things I'm releasing down the pipe. I'm releasing testing labels. I'm releasing anything digital plus my course, anything on that level. It's in LadyC's Digital HQ. So if you ever wonder where Paris gets this, where Paris gets that, I need help with troubleshooting. I need help on waxes. I need help on wicks. For anybody who already subscribed, let the people in the comments know. Go subscribe. I have all of those free resources there for you to help you. And so the link is in the description box under All Things LadyC. The link is in my IG bio. Go there, subscribe to LadyC's free resources, and that's where you can go get access to the headquarters, the digital HQ, and you can download and just learn from the guides. I create those guides to be able to help give you some footing, give you a little foundation. So that way, if you have any additional questions, y'all know I'll email y'all within the next 1 to 2 days. That's always my deadline. I try to hit everyone's email. I do try to answer everybody's comments and questions, but that headquarters is there to help you. So if you don't find your answer there, I'm here. I'm always here for questions, but I designed it to help try to eliminate a lot of those beginner questions. So picking out waxes, picking out wicks, and all of that stuff. Troubleshooting. I have a whole guide on troubleshooting. I don't even remember how many pages it is. It's several pages long. It's a nice little thick packet. And it literally talks about the most common troubleshooting things that sometimes you can't avoid, but I give you some helpful suggestions to get you through it. So it's there to help you guys. So take advantage of the free resources. And I have some interesting stuff coming down the pipe that I'm currently working on, that's currently getting designed by my graphic designer, because he takes care of that. So it all looks the same, like, you know, so he's working on that. So I have more things coming. So stay tuned, but take advantage of those free items. Like I said, so that way you can begin to learn. Okay. So it's all there for you. But either way, I'm still here to help. All right. So thanks for tuning in, and I will chat with y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.